This is the definitive list of who is world class in football. World class, how do we define it? Is it top 3 in your position, top 5? Starting off in goal, I think there's only 2 world class goalkeepers. One of them is Alisson. I think there's an argument he's the best keeper in Premier League history. There's an argument he's the best keeper Liverpool have had ever. Certainly in the modern era, his mixture of shot stopping, his mixture of distribution. In this current era of football, he is the best keeper by country mile. And I think it's pretty standard. Now, there's only one other world-class keeper, in my honest opinion. Obviously, Arsenal have got their issues in goal. Obviously, the likes of Chelsea, Man United, even Real Madrid have suffered with certain injuries or changes in the personnel who are going in goal for those big clubs. The next one for me is Courtois. Now, I know he hasn't been playing much this season. I know he's had a massive injury, but we can't forget that a couple of years ago in the Champions League final, the shot stopping ability that we saw against Liverpool was out of this world. It might have been the best individual performance of a goalkeeper in Champions League final history. So as a pure shot stopper, he will come back to full fruition. He's been at an incredibly high level. That kind of period of time when he left Chelsea, went to Atletico Madrid on loan, and Chelsea were desperate to bring him back. They even ousted Peter Cech to bring him back and make him number 1. He's been at that level for a long time, but it was the Liverpool game a couple of years ago where I know the injury is huge for a goalkeeper, but also because goalkeepers just rely on consistency, I think when he's back, he'll still have 3, 4, 5 years at the highest level. Obviously, if you're watching the video and you know I'm a Man City fan, you know that I've missed out Ederson. Now, Ederson for me still makes too many mistakes as a shot stopper. His distribution would be world class. He would be the best keeper in the world for distribution, but I'm an old school antiquated guy, and I think your shot stopping has to be 10 out of 10 all the time. He's at a disadvantage on some level because the focus needed to be a Man City goalkeeper is like that of nothing else in the world, really. The amount of shots that he has to face is limited, and when he does face a shot, it could come out after 5-10 minutes of Man City possession. So his focus to save big shots on goal changes compared to other keepers, and that's why I don't think we've seen him pull off unbelievable saves. And there's a couple of mistakes in his game. I think he can get beat near post. I think coming for things in the air, he can still look a little bit clunky. It's a very harsh list. This is like the 442 magazine, the 100 greatest players. I used to read that every single year. This list, I'll do it every single year if you like it, is definitive. And Ederson just doesn't make the list, in my opinion. There's only 2 world-class right-backs in world football, in my opinion. Kyle Walker is one of them. If you win a treble and then get linked to Bayern Munich, he was close to going to the biggest club in Germany, a side that have won a treble in the last couple of years in their own right. That says a lot about the level that Bayern Munich thought he was at, and obviously the level that he's at now to still be playing at Man City, potentially winning another treble as I've recorded this video. His pace, his athleticism, he will go down as the second best right back in Premier League history for every football fan, in my opinion. And then there will be a big debate between Man United, Man City fans if he's better than Gary Neville. It is too early to say, and really, it probably discredits this video if I say suddenly he's better than Gary Neville out of nowhere. I think there's an argument, that's all I'm going to say, that he's better than Gary Neville. So Kyle Walker gets in. I think that's pretty obvious. There obviously are some incredible English talents. Kieran Trippier, I think at Atletico Madrid was world class. I think he's fallen off a little bit. Those mistakes and the consistency of mistakes he's made this season, and Newcastle's poorest defence, I don't think you can put him in. Reece James has the ability to be the best right back in world football, serious, but he does also have big injury concerns. You can't throw him in right now. So for me, I have to put in Trent Alexander-Arnold because this Liverpool side are competing for 4 trophies. This Liverpool side have just won the League Cup. I know he wasn't part of that. Well, he was in earlier rounds, of course. Trent would complement Real Madrid. Trent would complement Man City and Bayern Munich, and that for me is a huge indicator that he is world class. And obviously he's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League, he's won every trophy. He's as decorated as they come for right backs of his age. And in terms of pure natural ability, there aren't many that have ever done it to that level. He's almost Roberto Carlos-esque on the right-hand side of a back 4. I don't think there's anyone else that you can throw in there. I really don't, but let me know in the comments down below. There's only a few centre-backs that are truly world-class at the moment. For me, Virgil van Dijk is still in that category. He is world-class, 32 years old, a bullet header that wins Liverpool the first of potentially many trophies this season. He's won everything with Liverpool and ushered in a new era at the club. He will be defined as the best centre-back, arguably, to have played for Liverpool in the modern era. He's up there with the Alan Hansens of the world. So Virgil van Dijk gets in. His longevity, there'll be a debate. You can let me know in the comments if he'll be world class even in a couple of years, because he's 32 and he's one of the older players to be in the list, but he is world class. There's no question about it. Will he make Man City better? Yes. Will he make Real Madrid better? Yes, 1,000,000%. Alongside him, it has to be Ruben Diaz. There have been small criticisms from Man City fans from his kind of performances in and around that kind of December, January time when there were drop points. But apart from that, this guy's been at the highest level of football since he joined the club. And if you join a football club like Man City and then there's never been a year of failure, where he's not won the league, and then he's gone on to win multiple league cups. He's gone on to win the Champions League as well. It's absolutely huge. So of course Ruben Diaz goes in. Alongside him, it has to be John Stones. John Stones is world class. Again, would he complement some of these bigger sides around Europe? Would he make them better? Would he make them more dynamic? I think he would. He's got success even before Ruben Diaz, who's part of that Centurion side. There's a bit of thing with football players of his quality when there are a few injuries, there are a few niggles that kind of break up how football fans see him consistently on Match of the Day, week in, week out. And I think John Stones, if he had slightly less niggles, would get the appreciation of the wider football community, which I think only Man City fans really pay him true credit, in my opinion. John Stones' distribution is better than any England centre-back ever. His defensive record is incredible. He makes the City side better defensively. People just kind of compare him to someone like a luxury player, maybe like a David Luiz at Chelsea. He was good on the ball, but maybe not good off of it. It's absolute rubbish. He's so good on the ball. He's so good off the ball. Big in the challenge, big in the air, he's tall, he's pacey. He makes City the best defensive unit the club's ever sort of seen. That's why you can build treble winning challenges off the back of the back four that we saw last season. He's running midfield against Inter Milan. He's running midfield against the likes of Brozovic in midfield in the Champions League final. Absolutely crazy. I'm not going to put in Saliba. I want to see Saliba play at the highest level. Upon recording, Arsenal are 1-0 down in the Champions League to Porto. So I want to see more from him. I want to see him lifting titles. I think to be on this list, you really have to be lifting serious silverware as well as being the form and the prime form of your career. Saliba's certainly in that, but it has to constitute winning things at the highest level for the biggest clubs. And we don't know yet. Maybe that's harsh. Kim Min-jae from Bayern Munich obviously won the league title with Napoli. I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs another year. And if Bayern Munich miraculously win the Bundesliga over Leverkusen, then maybe there's an argument. But that Bayern Munich side aren't as composed defensively as they were previously. You have to put in David Alaba. You could argue he's the best left back in the world. If you just shoved him left back, I think he'd do a job like he used to years ago. But these days, he's obviously a proper centre back, even a midfielder for Austria. His distribution is world class. His leadership is world class. I still think he's of an age category where he can go on for 3, 4, 5 years and be absolutely out of this world. And Real Madrid are huge favourites to win the Champions League behind Man City, or at least level with Man City. He is world class. He has been for many, many years. He's a generational player. The best player to ever come out of Austria, one of the best to ever play for Bayern Munich. Now he's at Real Madrid. When you see career trajectories that go from Bayern Munich to Real Madrid, maybe he goes to AC Milan after that. Those trajectories say a lot about a footballer. There's no drop off, and Alaba is world class. At left back, I actually think there's only one world-class left-back going, and that's Andy Robertson. Now, I know he's been a little bit up and down with injuries this season. I know Liverpool's form last season was relatively poor. I actually thought he was one of the better players last season for Liverpool. Going forward, he's as good as anyone. He's very, very good defensively. He's got incredible leadership. Those kind of crosses that come across the face of the box and a fullback has to clear them. He's got this kind of ability to sniff out danger, to get goal side of players. He's very, very aggressive in the tackle as well, but then he offers that kind of quality, that level-headedness going forward. So I think there's only one world-class left-back going in world football. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think the likes of Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw definitely have a shout, and Alphonso Davies for sure. But I still think you can get at those players. I still think there's been a lack of consistency. For me, Andy Robertson is the only world-class left-back. Right, we've got a few midfielders. This is absolutely beautiful. I think Declan Rice is world-class. There are not many players that can control a game of football like him. There are not many players that can guide a side through games. It's not just about keeping possession in modern football. A lot of credit is given to players that can keep the ball and keep possession high in their passing statistics above 90%, for example. But in modern football, those leaders, the Gerrards of the world, the Lampards of the world, the Vieiras of the world, they don't exist often. And Declan Rice does exist. And I think the quality where he gets Arsenal on the back of his shoulders and he grinds out wins. We've seen it so many times, grinding out win after win, grinding out kind of performances out of other players in that midfield. I think he's helped Odegaard this season. I think he's helped Martinelli. I think he's even helped Jorginho flourish a little bit as well. He makes at least 5, 6, 7 players around him better. He's out of this world, in my opinion. I think if you sign for Arsenal with a £100 million price tag and you instantly hit the ground running, that says a lot about your quality, that you can just go to any club and improve them, and that says a lot for me. So Declan Rice is in there. Rodri is better than Declan Rice. Rodri is the best defensive midfielder in world football. If you think Declan Rice is anywhere near him, then you need a day off. You really do. But Rodri is a generational midfielder. He's behind Busquets in terms of importance of Spanish defensive midfielders. There's been a lot of them, and he is of a different caliber to what I've ever seen, even from Fernandinho, even from someone like maybe Yaya Toure when he was a bit deeper for Man City. I've never seen anyone be able to bounce off players like a centre-back, bully people in that same regard, get huge goals like Steven Gerrard. But then the big thing, take away the goals, take away defensive prowess and astuteness and covering space positionally, which he does at a world-class level. He really does. It's about control of the game. He controls football matches better than Yaya Toure used to do, better than David Silva. Slightly different roles, of course, but I've never seen anyone control a game of football like Rodri, and that's why if Rodri gets injured from now to the remainder of the season, those titles that City are fighting for do get eliminated pretty quickly, in my opinion. Whereas I think Haaland, you can swap with Alvarez and Doku and Grealish, and the 4 centre-backs can come in and out of play a little bit. I think Rodri is the fundamental aspect to Man City still. He was superb last season. If he started against Chelsea in the Champions League final, we would have won that, in my opinion. It was crazy that we didn't start him. When he does start a Champions League final, he scores the winning goal, and City lift the first European Cup in the club's history. Alongside him, Jude Bellingham. Now, I know Martin Keown and Rio Ferdinand had this debate. It's what inspired this video. If you've watched this far, by the way, make sure you like it. Would really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel. Jude Bellingham is world class. You can't go to the Bernabeu, be the highest scorer at the club, guide Real Madrid through their group in emphatic fashion in the Champions League, and obviously keep them competitive in the league, where they started off a little bit slow compared to Girona, of course, but they're going to win the league by a country mile, in my opinion. And Bellingham's runs into the box, his leadership, is just his arrogance, which sometimes arrogance can be misplaced in football and you look like an absolute melt. He looks like a guy that literally the world revolves around. We're all living in Jude Bellingham's world, in my opinion, and his ceiling is beyond anything I've seen. Even Wayne Rooney, Wayne Rooney's ceiling, I think we found out where it was in 2008-9, which was at the highest level, playing in the Champions League final, winning that against Chelsea in Moscow, of course. But then the years after, he sort of stayed at a very, very good level. Of course he did. He stayed at a generational level for many, many years. He's the highest scorer for Man United, and at the time for England, for a reason. But Bellingham, I actually think, could be even higher than that, based on injuries, based on his position. Rooney was shifted all over the place. Rooney had issues with his fitness in terms of maybe how much he dedicated to the game off the pitch. I'd never question his loyalty to Man United or his loyalty to the sport. He served it beyond any measure of doubt. But Jude Bellingham's got the ability, like the Ronaldo factor. Like, why did Ronaldo outstrip Wayne Rooney in terms of his personal career, his personal accolades and personal ceiling? It's because of his commitment to the sport, because of lean he was, and how that reduced injury, how he was able to kind of keep going into his mid-30s and get Real Madrid titles in their mid-30s. Jude Bellingham could be there for the next 15 years. He could play for the next 3 or 4 major tournaments for England, even 3 or 4 next World Cups. He could play 6 or 7 major international tournaments for England if he stays fit. And if he keeps going the way he's going. That's why I think Jude Bellingham is easily world class. And Martin Keown, he needs a day off. Right, Phil Foden is world class in my opinion. I think he can control a game of football like I've never seen. There'll always be a debate around the fact he doesn't start enough football matches for City, which I think has been completely quashed this season. He starts a lot of football matches, and the consistency, his ability to drive through midfield. There's an argument he's the best dribbler of the ball in world football now that Messi kind of is in the retirement era of his career. Phil Foden for me is world class, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in world football. He's already come back and got 10 assists and 12 appearances for Man City upon recording this video. His ability to drive through the box is ridiculous. It really is. I've never seen anything like him. He reminds me of what, my parents' generation would have said about Johan Cruyff as an example. He's got Zinedine Zidane about him. I've said it a lot on this channel, so I'm not going to go over it again, but he is the best player in the world. If you can't see that, I don't know where you're living. Right, the forwards, there's only a few forwards that are truly world class. Mohamed Mohamed Salah, what he's doing this season, how he's guiding Liverpool onto, again, another season of unbelievable success. The way he can cut in, his athleticism. He really is still one of the quickest players in world football, which is a miracle when you're in your 30s. I mean, I'm 28 and I feel like I've never been slower. So the fact he's able to keep up what he's doing is a testament to being world class. I think being world class, a large part of it is about consistency. You know, the Michael Jordan at the end of his career winning league titles with the Chicago Bulls, he might not have been the best prime Michael Jordan, but the fact he's still giving himself the position to win titles, he's still putting himself in the frame, means he's world class. That's why I think Messi deserved the Ballon d'Or last season, because he put himself in the position. He wasn't 2013 Lionel Messi, 2011 Lionel Messi, but he's still doing it in a World Cup final. So the narratives around Lionel Messi being not as good as he used to be and falling off a little bit and not working hard in the World Cup final and all this stuff, he's managed his own individual aspect to his game, which is he has to be a little bit more conservative with how he runs, his fitness, etc., how he manages himself. And I think Mohamed Salah does exactly the same thing, if not to a better level, because I've never seen someone so fit as Mohamed Salah at that age category. He looks basically as quick and as sharp as he was when he signed for Liverpool all those years ago. Alongside him is Vinicius Jr. Real Madrid have now got 2 world-class forwards in their front 3. Rodrigo might be a little bit, if he's watching the video, he might be a little bit saddened to not be in a world-class list from me. Maybe. I don't think he's world class yet. I think he's got all the ability to be there. But the star of the show at the moment on that left flank or in that front 3 really is, of course, Vinicius Jr. Scores big goals in Champions League finals, won league titles. He's been there. He's done it. And I still think that Vinicius got a long way to go. I still think he can achieve so much in the sport, and he's doing it at the highest level. And if you do it at Real Madrid, that almost gives you a little boost in any rating, because to do it at Real Madrid as a forward and to follow in the footsteps of someone as good as Cristiano Ronaldo in that position, basically, or Gareth Bale, is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe is world class. It'll be interesting to see what he does at Real Madrid, where he plays. Is he a world class number 9 or a left winger? It depends where the new manager of Real Madrid will put him, but he's of course world class, and he's one of the 2 players on this list that will be the future Messi and Ronaldo kind of topics of debate, because I think it will be him and Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, I mean, upon recording this video, scored 79 goals already for Man City since he joined the club, and I can remember where I was. It felt like last week he joined the club. He's nearly on for 100 goals at the club in 18 months. Like, it's outrageous. And the big thing for Erling Haaland is why there'll always be criticism of him. Maybe it reminds me a little bit of Mesut Ozil for some people. Mesut Ozil didn't look the part when he wasn't trying hard, and then the quality that he showed made Arsenal fans always back him in debates, always talk about him massively. Now, it's a different kind of argument, of course, because Erling Haaland works hard. I'm not saying he looks lackadaisical or anything like that, but there's an image of Erling Haaland that he doesn't look as silky as Thierry Henry or Dennis Bergkamp, but he's got this finishing ability where he's scoring 5 goals in back-to-back seasons in single football matches. Absolutely ludicrous. And it's almost like how he gets the job done, how productive he is on the football pitch has never been seen before. It really's never been seen before, these numbers. And if he keeps them up, he could leave City with 400 goals, 300, 400 goals. If he stays, he might sign a contract. But let me know if that's absolute waffle. I don't think it is, but who knows? The final player who's world class is Harry Kane. You can't deny his goal scoring ability as much as I want to. I think his bottle job energy coming from Spurs is still there, kicking about somewhere, because Bayern Munich have struggled. They won at the weekend, but you have to say what he's done for England, his being the high scorer for England, and then the amount of goals he's already scored in Bundesliga football, that ain't no joke. And by the end of the season, it wouldn't surprise me if he won the league title in the Champions League. That's just how Bayern Munich can be sometimes. They can be a little bit temperamental in the middle part of the season when maybe they're a little bit bored of the Farmers League that they are in, with all due respect. So Harry Kane, of course, is world class. If you've liked this video, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to list out just a few notable exceptions. Joshua Kimmich, I think he's very close to being world class. He's got world class versatility. He's the world class version of Phil Neville on some level, but he's obviously a fantastic player. I love him at Man City. Musiala, of course. Bukayo Saka, not quite there yet. I still think a lot of this is down to proof. It's down to what have you done in your track record. Saka's won one FA Cup in the last 5 years. There's a lot to improve on. He's still incredibly young, and I think he will be world class. Ilkay Gundogan, it'd be harsh to leave him out, but I think the Barcelona drop off is real. I don't think he's world class anymore. Maybe I'm bitter that he left, and it's not his fault. It's the club's fault, really. Lewandowski, he's bordering world class, of course. I think, could he come to Man City and score 80% of the goals that Haaland does? I think there is a world he could for only a couple of years, even for one season. Son is close to being world class. Again, it's about the level that you operate at and what of Spurs achieving at the moment. It's another top 4 grind. They're not doing enough, are they, to get him into the world-class category, in my opinion. Rafael Leao, you need an AC Milan player in there somewhere, but he's not quite world-class. Valverde, I think there's a fair argument he could have actually been in the list because of what he's achieved in the game. Maybe consistency. I know he's had a few injuries as well. And Hakimi gets a lot of love. Obviously, the only PSG representative in this whole video. I'm just not a huge PSG fan. I think a lot of those players are overrated. A lot of those players instantly lose traction when you play in a league like the French league, with all due respect. Hakimi could definitely come in and change a lot of football sides for the better with his athleticism, with his quality. We saw at the World Cup as well, of course. But there we have it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is my definitive list of who is world class.